Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in this video, I want to talk about the best teams for Jade. Some of you are wondering where I went. I was very busy recently with the Xander's Zone Zero channel that we are doing before the official launch. But let's talk a bit about Jade in this video. Now, this is quite a misunderstood character. I see online a lot of people getting it mistaken. They think she's a very weak character, maybe multiplier is a bit low. But this character actually plays into a lot of the themes that are not currently meta. And I think the best way, I was thinking how to actually describe it. Let's talk about it in all the team types in Honkai Star Rail right now. So in this video here, the 8 teams of Honkai Star Rail, you can search it out on YouTube. We already talked about the 8 different formats that's available. And only here you actually see the strengths of this character, Jade, in Honkai Star Rail. So where does she play in? She has a follow-up attacking scaling. She does follow attacks. Every time your teammate attacks and whatnot, she gains stacks. She plays into follow-up attacking, so which means team members, for example, that want to boost follow-up attacks, whether it's in the simulated universe, divergent universe, or anything that buffs follow-up attacks in Memory of Chaos and whatnot, she plays into all of that as well because she does good amounts of damage from there. Not only that, her skill allows her to put like a debt collector buff on one of your teammates, which saps their HP. It might not be a lot, it might be just a little bit. I think it was like a couple of percent only, but this allows her to actually play into HP decay team compositions, which we haven't really had in quite a while. But on top of that, of course, she plays into the fast and often team composition, which is a unique case where very few characters actually play into these 3 teams. Fast and often meaning that the faster your teammate attacks, the more beneficial these team compositions tend to be. This could be a team of Zela where she attacks super often, or teammates that get stronger every time they take an attack or enemies move and stuff like that. Those are all pretty interesting to think about. Of course, hyper carry, every character can be played as a hyper carry if it's like E6, S5, right? So I won't really bother talking about hyper carry. And if you think about these 3 teams here, we are actually shifting away from the current meta that is like super hype, which is Nihility, Akirion, Debuff, DOT, your break teams, and now instead we are shifting into the fast often, follow-up attacking, HP decay, which is in an interesting category because it's not just doctor ratio follow-up attacks, but we also have another team composition that I'll talk about in a bit. But now that we have talked about where she outperforms in and where she stands in the meta, let's start to build some teams. The first one, of course, intuitively is quantum character, so naturally, how does she stand in the grand scheme of things in mono quantum teams? Till today, like 1.0 all the way to now, maybe after Silver Wolf till now, mono quantum has been one of the better teams because of the presence of this unit here, which is Silver Wolf. She drops in weaknesses on the enemy based on your team composition. For those of you newer players who don't really know this character, haven't seen her in a while, but I'll talk about other teams now because we have so many new quantum characters. You don't really need Silver Wolf as much as you did before to fill in this slot. It's still nice to have here and there. But by having a whole team quantum, you drop in quantum weakness on the enemy, meaning you can tackle pretty much any content regardless. We have nice sustain units like Fucc, you have nice sustain units like Lynx, who is free, so you have very good diversity for mono quantum now. Previously, Erudition, who was the only character you had, probably was, where is my Qingque? So previously it was just like Qingque here, but now you don't have to play her. You can instead I guess choose to play Jade in the Erudition role, or perhaps you can go with another character, for example like Xue, who is a very good single target splashing kind of DPS if maybe you don't have the resources to get a character like Zela. So I'll put this in the DPS slot because you can run like a hybrid DPS over here. And if you have the resources, you have additional money, maybe you can run even a quantum support in the synergy role, for example like Sparkle to help bump up crit damage and stuff, which is everything they scale off with. So mono quantum is healthier than ever. You have tons of options now to play, especially since Qingque maybe drinks too much skill points, you don't have enough for your pure fiction, which you want a bit more. Jade plays into that aspect as well, so very flexible team composition. I think if you are playing the pure fiction game mode, Jade is definitely going to outperform a lot of these other characters here. But one character that I think works really well with Jade is a character like Xue, who also has follow-up attacks, plays very similarly. She is destruction in nature, and one of the benefits about the HP sapping mechanic is if you look at across all of the light cones and stuff like that, for destruction characters, you realize that destruction characters have very good access to restoring HP restoration in their kit, whether it's attacking, triggering their follow-up, or even a character like Hook can also heal their own life. Clara's light cone can heal her own life. Blade heals himself somewhat as well. And other characters in destruction sense has the ability to modify the HP, whether it's like decaying the HP or healing it back up a little bit when they attack and stuff like that too. So I think that it's very interesting to consider this top team here, which is Jade, Sherry, Lynx, who maybe puts the aggro on, for example, Sherry, and you can do some damage there too. In the synergy slot, of course, you can play any character that you want here that is buffing in nature towards all of them. We'll talk about more options, but mono quantum team is healthier than ever. I think it's very, very interesting now, especially with a strong erudition character to help you clear pure fiction, because none of these other units in terms of quantum element were really, really good at clearing pure fiction in totality. But what is very interesting, we talked about the follow-up team compositions here, but I didn't mention that there's actually two different types of quantum follow-up attacking teams. One is the traditional ones that you see here, which is the literal follow-up attacking teams, which we'll talk about in a bit. But the other team composition is the counter teams, which is, I think, going to be interesting leading into the upcoming patches, when we're going to see maybe 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, so on and so forth. I mean, up the post-Panicany arcs, you will start to see very, very interesting, maybe counter mechanics. That seems to be the direction that we are going into. So let's take, for an example, the easiest character to think about when you think about counter is the literal counter person herself, which is Clara. If you pair Clara together with Jade, what Jade does is you put on that buff or debuff on Clara. The HP sapping is very, very minor for a character like Clara, who has damage reduction, who counters, and is based on the enemy speed. You add in together a character which is totally for free, like Lynx. You draw a lot of aggro to this unit. You put on the Debt Collector buff on this character. She just counters, and then you build stacks for Jade as well. And not only that, you also like buff the unit and so on and so forth. But her buff, Debt Collector, does add speed. Clara doesn't really care too much about speed. So a better fulfilling example will be a character like Blade, who has been roughly forgotten right now. But in future, if we have new counter characters, they definitely will fill this slot very well. Blade does want speed. He doesn't mind speed, rather. He has the HP sapping from Jade, that 2% that he loses. And if you draw aggro on Blade, he gets even more counters up real quick. He doesn't really care too much about losing a little bit of HP. And in fact, he might enjoy it a little bit more also to build some stacks. So Blade is probably one of the best synergies right now, as of time of recording, with a character like Jade. But once the future comes out, if there's a new character that also has a counter mechanic, that character likely will scale very well too. Your pivot slot here is very versatile. You can go for a traditional build or follow attackers, for example, like Robin, who is buffing on the side. You can even go for a character, for example, like Bronya, to help bump up your main DPS here. The more they attack, the more stacks that you gain for your team. Or if you don't want Bronya, and you don't want Robin, for example, who are both buffing and bumping characters up, you can go for other options available too, like a safe run Maybet, a character that buffs even more speed, which is like Tingyun and stuff like that. If you don't want to play Lynx, you can of course run a character, for example, like Ho-Ho. But Lynx does offer you a bit more aggro draw towards your destruction character, which might be more synergetic than a character like Ho-Ho, who then splits the damage across the board, because you don't have anyone specifically have increased aggro draw other than innate aggro draw that is being done. Ho-Ho is nice because you cleanse the team, which allows you to like counter properly. You heal the entire team up. You basically increase their energy restoration, which they mostly all scale with. But yeah, those are some options for the counter teams. I think Hoyoverse might be changing their trajectory, maybe going into this angle for a little bit, which is quite interesting, because these are quite fun bruiser team kind of lineups, which is antithesis, or enemies that are faster suffer more against counter teams. So if enemies start getting very, very fast and doing a lot of damage, this is how you counter the meta, using bruiser counter teams, and Jade plays into that quite nicely for now. The next team I'll talk about, of course, is the traditional follow attack. So going back to like this team composition here, we talked about the HP decay, we talked about a bit of follow attacking for the counter side. Now I want to go back into the original counter or the follow attacking that we all know, which is the team IPC. So before Jade, it would have looked like something like this, with Robin here instead, or Dr. Ratio here instead. Now, with the team IPC here, you have a character like Topaz and Nambi, you have a character like Aventurine, you have a character like Jade here now. So these three, they are mainstays, right? They are legit IPCs. So some of you who are newer joiners might not have Dr. Ratio here, so you can choose to play Robin instead, and at least you can still run the follow-up team that everyone is running. The disadvantage of running Doctor Ratio is you have double imaginary, so you don't exactly tackle as much content as you would if you had another element in here. But then again, your option of playing Robin doesn't really diversify you in terms of element. So yeah, that's not really a plus until we get another buffer for follow-up attacking or another sub DPS here. So you trade a single target, which Topaz and Nabi already is, for a bit more quantum AoE in a character. For example, like Jade, you can put on the buff for Topaz and Nabi here, and then she can act more often. Or if you do not have one of them, you can like move Robin around. And if you do not have Robin, you can of course put Runmei on, so at one of these two characters. If you have neither of them, then probably you want to consider running maybe other Harmony supports, or even changing direction and going to more of a debuffing kind of role, which is like the Pella kind of angle of things and stuff like that. So that's for the team IPC, which is where she plays into. Now, before we go into the next team competition, which is free-to-play teams, I actually want to talk real quick about the fast and often team. So this one here is something that I just mentioned real briefly, and that is in this bottom right here. So why fast and often she scales well with it as well is because Jade gains stacks every time your teammate or herself attacks, which means if you have team compositions that rely on speed bumping, for example, you have fast characters like Esther, you have Zila who loves to attack. So there are many other characters, of course, like Firefly, who has innately very high speed when she's in her enhanced mode. But there are so many different characters. But I just want to talk to you about the concept of fast and often. The faster your teammate attack when they move very, very quickly, the faster you build stacks for your character like Jade, the more energy that you get also. This team scales very well with speed and energy funneling. So a team, for example, like this, might look quite nice, or any type of like turn-based manipulators. For example, like Robin, who pushes everyone, Bronya, who pushes one, Sparkle, who pushes halfway one, but a lot of skill points to keep funneling. Even Hanya, for example, to give you some speed. Even characters, like so many options, right? It's like tons, almost fitting everyone here already. Tingyun, who gives you a bit more as well. So the other characters don't really bump or speed manipulate, and that's where I think these kind of team competitions deviate away from Runmei's specialties, and is probably one of the teams that Runmei might underperform in when you're looking at turn-based multipliers or speed modifying kind of team compositions. That is my thoughts. So this is one of the other angles that we can go into, especially if more characters can attack. I have here many options for you. A fast DPS in the pivot slot, there are so many that I can think of. Just to name a few, would be like Zila, like Firefly. Susang also has like some sort of follow-up attacking in her kit that enables her to attack very often, very fast. Utility slot, you have Ho Ho, who bumps the entire team to make them move very quickly. These are all some characters that I think are also pretty strong. So last but not least, let me talk about the free-to-play teams. Now, for Jade, this is not really total free-to-play. I'm just talking about the 4 stars for this team composition, who might be very good with this character. First of all, would probably be a character like Xue, or even Susang might be interesting for a 4-star here. A free-to-play team meaning like 4 stars or totally free. I think Xue is like totally free in Honkai Star Rail. So you can attack, you can follow up. She does a lot of attacking, same quantum typing, which makes it very nice for them. She does a bit of colorless breaking. They play into similar things. 1 destruction, so at least you can draw the aggro to someone. I do like Links a little bit because of the aggro drawing ability, focusing all on one character. So you debt collect one character, you focus the sustain on one character. Links also buffs like HP, I think, for the person that she aggro draws towards. So that is nice for any character who wants a bit more chunkiness for a destruction kind of character. So Links is also free, so you can put this together in like a pseudo quantum team already that you have here very easily, very cheaply already. Your pivot slot here, any buffer that you are thinking of can probably be played here. Out of all of them, I guess Harmony MC won't fit into here, so you can like form straight away another team. A team like maybe Esther could be played here since she's relatively free. You can put her in this slot here. I think she will work quite nicely as well. Since you buff all team, you capitalize on that fast often mechanic that Jade has, as we talked about. And yeah, that's my basically Jade summary. If you guys found this video helpful, there are many other content on the channel that you might enjoy as well. So like, subscribe for more such future content. And if you're playing Zenless Zone Zero, do check us out at EODGamer ZZZ on YouTube. And see you in the next video.